What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? And my name is Nick Bartell, editor-in-chief for technowarriorstv, and welcome to another paranormal interview. I am super stoked because guess who we have back in the studio? Kitty Janusz, Kitty Janusz, correct?
Correct.
And welcome to the secrets buried in the lemon grove. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the haunting of her family. Basically what it was like when she was at her house. Now, this is what she's going to be telling us in this today's show is everything that her and her family went through in that house, and it's actually based, and if you see on screen now, Secrets Buried in the Lemon Grove, that is the background that she has. So you're going to be getting a glimpse of what this story is like and in video audio version. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, get the popcorn ready, get an Irie coffee, teas, and bobas of your choice, and ladies and gentlemen, it is time to begin Secrets Buried in the Lemon Grove. So without further ado, Kitty, take it away.
Well, thank you, Nick. Good to be back. I got to drink my Mountain Dew here first.
I love Mountain Dew. It makes me really hyper. Ooh.
I will have one before I go to bed. But I've been drinking it probably for, 40 years. My mind.
Wow.
Back when I was living in this house. So I had a lot of requests to write a book geared towards a younger reader. And I thought, what better opportunity than to tell what happened when I was growing up as a kid. Because people say, how did I get into the paranormal? Well, I got into the paranormal because I grew up in a haunted house. And everybody thinks that's a spooky, scary thing. And it really wasn't. We always tell people he was kind of like the uncle that we didn't know we had, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit was creepy, a little bit was unnerving, but a lot of it was, is that the ghost or did somebody break into the house kind of thing? And everybody goes, well, what happened? What happened? What happened? Well, this was over the course of like 20 years. Imagine living in a haunted house for at least 20 years. This is why I'm not afraid of the paranormal. This is why ghosts don't scare me. 20 years of growing up in a haunted house, to me, they're just another family member. So probably the earliest memories I have of there being someone else in the house that wasn't a living person was, probably, I'm not even going to date myself by giving a decade, but let's just say the carpet was avocado green shag, okay?
Oh, wow.
And we would hear boot steps, clomp, 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 going up and down the hallway. Well, there's no wood in the hallway. It's the avocado green shag carpeting. And we weren't imagining it because you'd see the cat staring into the hallway. His eyes would get really big, and then he'd run away from the hallway. The most active areas of the house were the hallway, my bedroom, and the bathroom that was probably adjacent to the hallway. Not necessarily in the bathroom, but everybody hated going and using that bathroom because you didn't like going to that hallway. That was basically like his territory.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't mind anywhere else in the house, but he did not like you being in that little hallway. Day or night, rain or shine, he didn't want you in that hallway. And what he would do is, it'd be like standing in an elevator and a great big creepy person is all of a sudden standing right behind you.
Oh,
and you can kind of feel their breath on the back of your neck, and your shoulders start going up, and you just don't want to turn around. You just don't want to turn around, and you just run. You just run out of the hallway. So anytime anyone had to use that bathroom, yes, there's bathrooms all over the paranormal. You would just sit there and stare at that door. Say, I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out of this bathroom. It's waiting for me. It's waiting for me. So imagine, 20 years of that, plus we would come home and all the water in the house would be running. We're talking sinks, we're talking showers, everything in the house would be just running full blast, absolutely full blast. And our parents would say, oh man, the water bill's going to go up. They would never say, oh my gosh, the ghost, or they would never really discount it. Nor would they actually acknowledge it. They would just kind of leave it up to the kids to decide actually what was going on in the house. And I remember one time, I guess I was probably about 7 years old, and we were going to go to Disneyland. And I was so excited. We were going to go to Disneyland, and I'd saved up my money. And the ghost loved to hide things that were green, like your headphones. He would just love those headphones. And I had, hang on to those headphones. I had every dollar I'd saved as a 7-year-old in this little green plastic treasure chest. What every girl has, of course, a green plastic treasure chest. And I'd set it on the dining table, ready to go to Disneyland in the morning. Well, we get up in the morning, treasure chest isn't there. My money's gone. My treasure chest is gone. Where is it? I'm in a panic where I'm crying. We're looking everywhere for it. As a 7-year-old, you're not very tall. There's only so many places you could have put it. It was on top of the refrigerator.
What?
I didn't put it there. God knows my parents didn't put it there because they wouldn't have spent an hour looking for it if they had put it there. And this would happen all the time. Something green would disappear, and about 3 or 4 days later, it would reappear in a really odd place, like on top of a door jamb, on top of the refrigerator, inside the refrigerator.
Inside the refrigerator?
Sometimes inside the refrigerator, under the kitchen sink. Just in really odd places where you didn't accidentally set it down. I guess he was just trying to get our attention or something.
Do you think he was trolling you guys?
I think he was just kind of nudging us to see if we were paying attention, to see if he was there.
Uh-huh.
And I tell people the story of the one time that he actually got a little too close for comfort. And we talked about this on your other show, but I was sitting in the bed and I thought the cat was sitting on the end of the bed, but the end of the bed kept sinking lower and lower and lower. And you could see it sink. You could see that indentation. And I just screamed, stop it, don't do that. And he never did it again. So, that was really kind of cool. And it's not just us. People think, the haunting only occurs during certain family members and only people would see it. Oh, heck no. My friends would be over. And they would see the activity happen. They'd see it in the middle of the day. And after a while, my friends stopped coming over.
So paranormal activity just doesn't happen late at night, like between midnight and 4 a.m. It can happen all day long.
It can happen all day long in the middle of the day. Ghosts and spirits, they don't care what time it is. What is more important, I think, is when it's quiet. And so you're noticing when something out of the ordinary happens. But we would be sitting in the living room, which had windows on 3 sides. All the windows would be shut. And all at one time, I remember I had 2 friends over at the time. We were all sitting on the sofa. All at one time, every single curtain went poof, into the center of the room. My friends looked at each other, we're out of here. And they ran out of the house. I thought it was kind of fun, but apparently some people thought it was just a little too much for them.
Now, what other things happened in the house?
The one time, now, remember I said he liked to move things that were green?
Yeah.
The one time that he actually was visible was my sister actually saw him. She didn't see all of him. All she saw was a head. Green floating head. Floating through the dining room.
Whoa!
Just very slowly, at about a 6-foot height, just floating towards her. And all she could do was just pull the covers over her face and not open them up till morning.
Now, so what did your family members see? Like, what did they see? Much of the same activity?
Anybody who visited the house, if paranormal activity occurred in the house, everyone in the house would see it. Now, there is a theory that is discussed.
Well, hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm going to pause right here. Skype's freaking out a bit. All right, say what were you going to say again?
I just said that a lot of people don't like having something paranormal happen in the house, but when you kind of grow up with it, you're more of accepting to it. And so it's not quite as frightening, but you also kind of wonder, who was this person? Why is he here? Why is he trying to communicate with us? And that was kind of the impetus for this book, was because everybody thinks a house is haunted from a previous resident, and that's not necessarily the case. It could be somebody coming in from the area. It could be a spirit attached to an object. My parents were antique dealers. Maybe it was someone who was attached to an object. I don't know. But they bought the house, brand new, little pink stucco house, and it was completely surrounded by lemon and orange groves. So I thought, well, maybe it was somebody who worked in the lemon groves. And I thought, well, maybe he needs to have his story told. So I created a story about a person who worked in the lemon groves, who tragically died, and his body was not found until the following year. He wasn't given a proper burial, and he came back to haunt the bad people who led to his demise. And in that book, I laced all the true paranormal events that happened in my house.
Mm-hmm.
As me, my sister, and my brother are researching what might have happened to this poor soul who died so tragically and is haunting this house. So it's kind of a goosebumps kind of book, but a lot of adults like to read this book. They find it really fun. And I kind of set the ending of the book up for maybe a sequel. We'll find out.
Mm-hmm. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because there might be a sequel, and you will be hearing it first from TW for Techno Warriors TV. TWTV is just Techno Warriors TV, just shortened. So, what did your brother and sister see? What did they experience?
Well, they were both older. My brother was 8 years older. My brother had quite the scientific mind. My brother was a genius. He had an IQ of 165.
Wow.
He spoke 17 languages, including Sanskrit. He could read Egyptian hieroglyphics. He had some interesting theories on what was going on there, and he would actually kind of taunt the ghost a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He would dig holes and plant plastic skeletons in the ground to aggravate him, which wasn't really very nice. But we all basically encountered the same thing. My sister was a little bit more afraid of him because she's actually one who saw him.
Mm-hmm.
And we all just avoided the hallway and gave him his space. But there is a theory that poltergeist, specifically poltergeist, which is translated from the German, means angry ghost. And it usually pertains to when things, solid objects are moving in an area. There is a theory that that energy is enhanced by young people living in the house. If you talk to paranormal teams who investigate residential hauntings, and they'll say they're having a lot of poltergeist activity, they're having a lot of stuff going on in the house. Ask if there's teenagers living in the house. And it almost never fails that if there is a household with young adults, be it one, be it several, there's a very high probability that if that house is having some sort of paranormal activity, especially poltergeist activity, subconsciously, the family members tend to be involved just by their energy alone, by their hormones, by growing up, by changing, just by existing in the house. They actually are causing a lot of what's going on in the house. And sometimes a paranormal group will be called in to fix their problems. Fix it. This is happening. Things are moving. And the fact that teenagers are living in a house can cause poltergeist activity. It can cause solid objects to move. And once those teenagers, grow up and the hormones kind of subside, a lot of times the family will realize that the paranormal activity kind of ceases.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that people are lying when they're saying things go on in the house or that there isn't spirit activity in the house. I think one school of thought is it's just the energy itself of their hormones of teenagers is causing solid objects to move through walls or move, like telekinesis. And another school is that energy creates like this light that will attract spirits. They feed off this energy. So it's kind of a little bit of both. The poltergeist activity is caused by teenagers and their own energy, and yet their energy is attracting spirits because they need some sort of energy in order to manifest, in order to communicate and do their thing. So it's almost kind of a double-edged sword, and people who do residential hauntings will find that very often that in a family, if there are teenagers in a house, there's going to be poltergeist activity. And because of what I experienced in the house, what I physically heard and saw, that I tend to be the one that it will create some sort of a portal, that little lighthouse of energy that attracts spirits. So, all three of us were teenagers at the same time. So I think that created quite an energy base for our spirit to walk those halls and have green glowing heads and move things and put them on top of refrigerators and turn on the water and scare the cats, change the TV channels. They'll mess with electronics sometimes also. You'll be sitting there and the TV will turn on by itself. Lights will turn on by themselves. Lights will shut off by themselves. It's not necessary that they're trying to scare you. Sometimes they're just trying to get your attention. Sometimes they're doing it inadvertently. Just by being there, they'll cause something to happen. But I kind of have a lot of fond memories about that house. I kind of felt a little bit honored that he stayed as long as he did, that he felt comfortable being with us and being kind of another family member. I see it as a bit of an honor to grow up in a haunted house.
Well, okay. There we go. We got some echo right there. Sorry about that loud sound right there, guys. There we go. They got that fixed. Well, guys, thank you guys so much. And thank you to Kitty Janusz for being on the show today and telling her haunting of the Jost family, or the
secrets buried in the lemon grove. And to learn that secret, go to my Amazon page, Kitty Janusz, that's Janus, and find both my books, Secrets Buried in the Lemon Grove and When the Dead Speak, The Art and Science of Paranormal Investigation. Check them both out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a big shout out to Kitty for being on this show today. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit that like button if you liked it. Hit that dislike button if you disliked it. And if you adored it, all you'll have to do is strangle that subscribe button, slap it in the face, and pow, right in the kisser. Stay tuned for more amazing things coming soon to Techno Warriors TV.